Hey y'all, what's up? It's Saniyah, aka Miss JG. Hey y'all, what's up? It's Saniyah, aka Miss JG, and like I said, I am not taking another 8-month break. I am back. Now, I wanted to come on here and talk about a topic that I feel passionately about, which are college scholarships. Now, college scholarships are the reason why I am able to go to school for $0. I actually have a surplus of college scholarships, which allow me to get a pretty sweet refund check every semester. And those help me out a lot with educational expenses, living expenses, and things like that. And I am extremely not only grateful to God, but grateful to all of the people who've helped me get here so I can sit here and yap and talk. Literally before I got these scholarships, I was using an old Chromebook for my notes. I was training and busing back and forth to school. I didn't have any technology that would be compatible for some of my assignments that I had to do, but because of my refund checks, because of the scholarships I was able to receive, I was able to enhance my educational experience, and I hope that you guys are able to do the same. Now, as of me recording this video, I've won about 4 scholarships, one for 80 grand, one for 2,500, one for 2,000, and one for 1,000, all of which totaling about $85,500. Now, that doesn't include scholarships that I've won in the past that I wasn't able to accept because they were contingent upon me going to a different school, but these 4 scholarships have helped me out so much. Now, you're not talking to somebody who's super academically gifted or somebody who is super athletic or somebody who has head a bunch of clubs, heading community service initiatives or things like that. You're talking to somebody who in high school, her highest GPA was a 3.2 and in college, highest being like a 2.9. So we're talking about strategy, we're talking about chance being on my side, we're talking about me taking advantage of opportunities that a lot of other people don't take advantage of, and that's what I'm going to get into in this video. Now, first things first, I'm going to get into just where you apply to school and how to manage your expectations in regards to that. First thing I'll say is to apply to schools where scholarship displacement is illegal. Now, if you don't know what scholarship displacement is, it pretty much means that if you get an amount of aid or scholarship money that exceeds the amount that you have to pay the school is within their right to take away money that they've given you in aid so that your payment could just be a net zero. In other places, like in my school, in other people's schools, you get what's called a refund check if your scholarship and financial aid exceeds the amount that you have to pay the school. But in these schools where scholarship displacement is legal and is practiced, you can get scholarships and financial aid decreased and walk away almost empty-handed, which this isn't to say to be ungrateful for whatever scholarships that you receive. This is to say that I feel like in practice, scholarship displacement should be illegal because there are so many expenses that schools do not bill you for that are a huge part of going to college. And I feel like people severely underestimate that, and they feel like we're supposed to come up with money out of thin air, especially when you're talking about people who don't come from wealth, people who aren't, coming from places where their parents are paying their tuition in full and things like that. Like, we're talking about people sometimes who their last dime is towards their tuition, and you want to sit here and say that they don't need the extra $500, they don't need the extra $1,000, they don't need any of that. Now, I feel like the best way to combat this is just to not apply to schools and not give them just any of your attention if they do encourage scholarship displacement, not only because it saves you a lot of headache in the long run, but then it incentivizes these same schools to look at themselves and potentially change their rules. Now, the next thing I want to say is to optimize time when it comes to applying to these scholarships. If you're like a sophomore in high school applying to like college scholarships and you don't even know what college you're going to yet, you might not get the best options. Mind you, I was one of those people who was like freshman, sophomore in high school applying to college scholarships thinking that I was just gonna collect money and then just put it towards whatever college. It's probably not gonna work like that unless you have some sort of extenuating circumstance that proves me wrong, but just take my word for it. However, it's also not super wise to apply to scholarships in like, I don't know, late March, early April, May of your school year, because by that point, most of the scholarships are gone. Like, you're looking at scholarships that have either already been reviewed by people have already gotten their acceptance letters, they're already preparing resources for the next batch of scholars. I feel the best time to apply for scholarships are the summer before starting your school year and about March of your school year, because I feel like between those times, a lot of schools are going to be, starting their scholarship programs. They're going to be introducing these programs, promoting them and things like that. And I feel like the earlier the better is a great philosophy to have when it comes to applying to these scholarships. But at the same time too, you're applying to so many between those periods of time that you optimize your chances of being picked by somebody. Every single scholarship that I won had an application pool that was accepting applications between, I want to say like November and February. So do with that information what you will. Now, when looking for specific scholarships to apply to, I'll say the more specific you can get, the better. Like, and by specific, I mean applying to scholarships that apply to whatever state you live in, city, whatever gender you are, race, sexual orientation, even height. Like, there are scholarships for almost anything nowadays. And I feel like people severely under-optimize that fact, because people are so focused on the big picture things. They're focused on the fact that, oh, there's scholarships for $100,000. There's scholarships for 80 grand. There's scholarships for, one of my scholarships is 80 grand. That doesn't mean that I was only applying to scholarships for 80 grand. Most of my scholarships are under $5,000. So if I were to have that attitude of, oh, I'm not applying to scholarships unless they are 5 figures, like, I would be setting myself up for an extreme amount of disappointment. And I feel like if you manage your expectations in that regard, like looking for scholarships that are local, looking for scholarships that are very specific to you, you maximize your chances of winning. Again, this isn't a guarantee. This is just bettering your chances. On that same vein, if you are already in college, if you are already attending your school, I'd say applying the scholarships that are specific to a certain major, GPA requirement. Some scholarships in certain colleges even have like alumni scholarships, or if your parent was in the army, or if your parent is of like a certain like ethnic background within the school, they have scholarships for that as well. Because not only does it severely decrease your competition pool and your applicant pool, but it gives you direct access to people that you wouldn't have otherwise had access to, that you can ask, hey, like, what do you think of my application? Do you think this is somebody who deserves to be a part of the scholarship? Should I add anything? Should I tweak anything? Should I remove? This basically gives you networking opportunities that you wouldn't get from like the Bill Gates and Melinda Gates scholarship, or like the Coca-Cola scholarship, unless you have close personal relationships with these people on the board. On that same vein, I would say focus a lot of your energy on the lower scholarships. I know it sounds crazy, like, Saniyah, why wouldn't I want to apply to scholarships that are 50 grand or 100 grand? You could apply to those scholarships, but I'll be honest, your chances of winning are probably not that much. And this is coming from somebody who has an $80,000 scholarship. There were 50 of us that won. In total, there I think are like 126 of us in this program. But think about how many people applied and got rejected. If you think it's 200, you're thinking too small. Probably thousands of people have applied to this scholarship and unfortunately got turned away. And while I do feel bad for these people, I also was one of these people in other scholarships. And I had to understand that sometimes it's not a personal decision. It's not something made out of malice. This is just something that happens, especially with bigger scholarships with bigger companies. So when you focus on scholarships that are maybe $500 or $1,000 that people kind of, scoff and don't pay any regard to, you maximize your chances of winning in that as well. Not only because, again, that applicant pool is much smaller, you're probably applying to a scholarship that's much more specific to your situation. While we're talking about focusing energy and where we want to apply our energy when applying to these scholarships, y'all, please do not focus all your energy on applying to those no essay, just put your email here. I promise most of those are probably data farming. Like, let's be honest, how many people do you know in real life who actually won those scholarships, like those niche scholarships or like those random ones where you just have to put your first, last name, what school you go to, and your email? Like, it's not the best use of your time, because let's just say this is legitimate, right? Like, I'm not going to say, oh, these people are all data farming, even though that's part of my suspicion. Even if these were all legitimate, imagine how many thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people that are applying to these scholarships. Your chance of being picked is pretty much slim to none. Shoot, that's almost like winning the lottery, which speaking of winning the lottery, don't think that entering scholarships is like winning the lottery. It's not like scratching off a ticket and hoping that you get the right numbers. While a big part of scholarships is chance and circumstances, a lot of it also falls into strategy, academia, involvement. And if you don't have those things, I suggest you gain it, because those are going to be the skills that scholarship boards see and hopefully consider when accepting you into a scholarship. Now, this next thing, please, if you thought this no essay, no application scholarship thing was bad and a little scammy, do not apply to scholarships that ask you for money. Do not apply, there's an entrance fee, there's a subscription fee, Scholly, all these other scholarships. I promise you, why are you paying money for free money? That makes no sense. Like, I get raffles are a thing and whatever, but like, you shouldn't have to pay real human dollars for free money. That in and of itself just sounds scammy to me, and I feel like you could be applying your energy towards much more fruitful endeavors. And those types of scholarships, again, I haven't heard anybody win these in real life either, so let's hope that I'm wrong. You're probably thinking, now Saniyah, you probably talked about all you need to look for and all the red flags that you need to look out for, but you didn't actually talk about what to put into this scholarship. What should I do to prepare to apply to so many scholarships? Now, let me tell you this. I've conservatively probably applied to about 150 scholarships in my senior year of high school alone, not even counting the ones I've applied to during college. Because if we were to count that would probably take it up to like 200, maybe 250 if we're being completely real. But this is what I'm saying. Out of 150 scholarships, I won 3, and 2 of them I had to reject because I wasn't going to that school. So this is not a foolproof, oh my gosh, like if you do my steps, then you're gonna get instant success. I'm not promising you that. I'm not. Like, I can be completely 100% honest with you. And I'm not even going to sit here and say that if you had better academics or if you had athleticism or whatever else, that's also going to be a guarantee. It's not. Like, nothing is a guarantee. But I'll say this. These next things I'm about to mention are things that I consistently put into every scholarship that I apply to. And these things have been recognized clearly by scholarships institutions that value that about me. Now, when you're applying to scholarships, you're gonna notice that a lot of the core questions are gonna be pretty similar. A lot of the things that they're asking you for are going to be, pretty common. And even though the core values are different, the locations are different, the businesses are different, you're still going to have to answer these types of questions. Now, I'll say to mitigate the, hassle of writing a whole bunch of essays, I'll say write a supplementary 10 to 12 essays simply on a wide range of questions and topics and things like that. For example, I'd say like write an essay on why you deserve whatever scholarship you're applying to, what financial and personal struggles you've overcome in order to get to the point where you're applying to the scholarship. What would this money do for you? How would you use their money to achieve success? How do their core values align with you? How do their core values align with the school you applied to? How does the school you apply to add to your journey of your professional career? What do you plan to do in your current major in order to be successful in your field of study? All of these things can be essays on their own, I feel, right? And an essay shouldn't be too long. I think exceeding 600 words would be a bit much for an essay, unless it asks you specifically for that. I think exceeding 600 words on any of these topics would be too much, but here's the beauty of it, right? You can tailor these essays to whatever scholarship you're applying to. All you have to do is change up a couple of words. All you have to do is add the core values of whatever scholarship you're applying to, tailor it to your major, tailor it to your school, and now you're not sitting here writing 150 essays. You actually already wrote 10 to 12. You just have to slightly tweak them and slightly tailor them to whatever scholarship you're applying to, just so it's not super redundant and repetitive and you get tired after essay number 70. And speaking of essays, I'd say if you have any type of college advisor or academic advisor or any like person who works in a writing center, or even if you're lucky enough to have contact with somebody who works in a scholarship board to read over your essay, look for things that they like, look for things that they would tweak, look for things that would be the most advantageous to include, I would say do that, because you need as many people in your corner as possible, not just with the recommendation letters, but just behind the scenes in general. The support system that I had during applying to these scholarships was extremely amazing. I had extremely supportive parents, friends, and family members, and I feel like If I was doing this completely by myself, if I felt like I was in this alone, it definitely would have been 10 times harder. If you have people that have the resources and the knowledge to help you either not make the same mistakes they made or help you be in the same position they are, you better take it. Now, speaking of having people in your corner, letters of recommendation will come up a lot. Even for those scholarships that are like $500, they'll probably ask you for a letter of recommendation. So I'll say this, have a slew. I'll say if I were to quantify it, have one from a teacher, your favorite teacher, one from a mentor and an old boss, one from a club organizer, one from someone that will make you look better in general. So that is 4 different people. Mind you, you can add to this number all you want, but just have these main people down. Some of these scholarships are going to say, oh, we only want recommendations from a teacher. Oh, we only want recommendations from a member. We only want recommendations from somebody who you've done community service with. And you need to have all of these people on deck, all of these people with a letter on deck, being able to vouch for you and speak highly of you. Now, this isn't an opportunity for you to go and harass people and ask a professor you haven't spoken to all semester to write this essay for you, or to ask a boss who is always complaining about you being late to write this for you, or to ask a teacher who's constantly failing you for poor work to write this essay for you. Like, you see what I mean? Like, you have to ask people who can genuinely say positive things about you and vouch for you truthfully, so you have the best chance of winning. Now, lastly, this could be said before winning a scholarship, during your scholarship winning process, and after you win the scholarship if it's a recurring scholarship. Don't slack off, act up, get on academic probation, think that you're just cruising because you won the scholarship and now you're just about to get money. Especially if the scholarship is recurring, they could still watch you. They could still look at your academics and say, if your GPA is below this point, we're taking the scholarship away. If you're on academic probation, or if you're not in good standing with your school, if you get into a fight on campus and it makes them look bad, they could take the scholarship away. Even if they feel like you don't represent their core values anymore, they could take the scholarship away. So don't get too comfortable after winning these scholarships. Still monitor your online presence, still monitor your triggers, and don't pop off at the mouth every time somebody makes you upset. Don't slack off too much and let your grades slip, because that is going to come back to bite you when these people are looking at you over and over and over again and evaluating, does this person really deserve my money? Does this person really deserve the opportunity that I'm giving them? Because I think not. And you don't want these people to ever think this about you. Be on your best behavior, honestly. Like, you owe it to them. It's their money. Like, they didn't have to give it to you. So the least you can do is mind your P's and Q's, keep your grades up. Don't get into fights. Just be the best version of you can be. Be the you that won that scholarship. Now, this is just a rough list. I didn't even get into like interviews, recording thank you videos, showing your genuine appreciation, networking with people. If you guys want that, sure, but I'm gonna leave you guys with this for now, and I hope it genuinely helps somebody watching this. I don't know the timing you guys are watching this video. I'm publishing this around mid-July, but I feel like that is a good enough time to start looking for scholarships and applying. So yeah, y'all, it was real fun making this video. Now I have to get to editing. I will be making another video really soon, not tonight, because I have been talking for like 40 minutes straight and I'm tired. But yeah, if that's all, I will see you guys real soon. Bye.